Oh, just a few more minutes. Check in a few more books and we will be ready to go home. Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry. I didn't hear you come in. Oh, my God. Give me just a moment and I will be right with you. Welcome to the Mystic Falls Library. How can I help you today? A car crash. Oh, goodness. No. We can definitely report that. We're going to get that taken care of for you. On my face. Oh, goodness. Ah, did I smear my lipstick? Give me just a second. What? Oh. Well, it would appear I was not as careful with my dinner as I thought I would be. Why don't you settle in? And we'll get that car crash reported after I've gotten myself cleaned up. Oh, no! I do insist. Well, hello, my lovely friends. It's Margaret. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be talking about my TBR for the Mystic Falls Readathon. And that is as far as the accent is going. I am here to talk to you guys about what I am planning on reading this September for the Mystic Falls Readathon. If this is your first time hearing about the Mystic Falls Readathon, I will have Nell's announcement video and everything else you need to know down in the description box. So what you need to know for this video is it is a September Readathon going from September 1st to September 30th, being run by Nell over at Nell Diamond, and I am one of the co-hosts for Team Vampire. There are like 3 different sets of prompts. One set of prompts you're not allowed to know if you are not in the vampire faction, but there are a set of community prompts that everyone is getting. I chose 2 to 3 books to fit each of the community prompts, and that is what we're going to be going over right now. So the first community prompt is to read a book by a BIPOC author. We're going to be starting those selections out with a book that is upside down. I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. We are following a kid whose name I do not remember. Tolly? Yeah, we're following Tolly and his friend Amber, and I don't know, like, there's a slasher going through town, and it sounds like it is him, but also his friend is the final girl, and she's saving his life, and it sounds like he's right. Like, it's September 1st. I read the first little bit. It sounds like he's writing this from prison on a very old computer. Bodies are going to be dropping down fast in this small West Texas town for a few unbearably hot days that will resonate through the decades and even get made into a TV movie. Tolly and Amber will be famous. Notorious, even. Finally, everyone will know their names. This is Stephen Graham Jones, X-raying the slasher genre, interrogating its motivations over the shoulder and in the voice of the killer itself. From a town he did some growing up in a year he was also 17. I'm here for the 80s nostalgia, which, like, I mean, this makes so much sense considering, like, what his last few books I've read have been about. After that, I have to get a few vampire books in, and we are going to start that out with Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a vampire noir set in Mexico City. We are following Domingo. He is a scrappy street kid, and then we also are following Atal, and she is the descendant of the Aztec blood drinkers. They end up having to, well, Atal ends up needing Domingo's help because she is trying to escape. I think it's the cops? Atal needs to quickly escape the city, far from the rival narco-vampire clan relentlessly pursuing her. Her plan doesn't include Domingo, but little by little, Atal finds herself warming up to the scrappy young man and his undeniable charm. Oh no. As the trail of corpses stretches behind her, local cops and crime bosses both start closing in. Vampires, humans, cops, and criminals collide in the dark streets of Mexico City. Do Atal and Domingo even stand a chance of making it out alive? Or will the city devour them all? I'm very intrigued about this one. Like, I've been wanting to pick up a Silvia Moreno Garcia book. I tried with Silver Nitrate, and it just, like, it's not that the book didn't work, I just wasn't able to get to it. So I'm hoping with the fact that this is a vampire book, and I am on Team Vampire, this might work a bit better. The final book that I'm thinking about for this prompt is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is Toni Morrison's debut novel. From what I understand, it is very autobiographical about what it was like for her growing up as a black child in Lorain, Ohio. The premise of this is that Piccola prays for her eyes to turn blue so that she will be treasured the way that the blonde, blue-eyed children of America are treasured. I am planning to read books that have been banned or challenged, specifically in my county, and just seeing if I could figure out why people are challenging them besides the obvious. Our next prompt that I'm going to be tackling is to read a book with a Black or Indigenous main character. First book on that list is The Maro Thieves by Sherry Dimeline. This is one that I have been meaning to get to. I started reading it a few years ago for Indigathon, but never got all the way through it. And I don't know, like the sequel just came out and I'm feeling like this is the time to read it. So this is set in a dystopian world where only Indigenous people are able to dream. And so they are hunted down to get their marrow so that other people can dream. That's a metaphor, if anyone was curious. And if you don't know what that's a metaphor for, oh, please go look at US and Canadian history. The other one is one that I have been hearing about, and I know nothing about what it's actually. I just know it's a romance, and it is The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. This is about Emberly Cardinal. She has not always been a liar, well, not for anything that counted at least, but her job search is not going great, and when her resume is rejected for the 37th time, only 37, Ember, she takes matters into her own hands. She gets creative in listing her qualification and answers the ethnicity question on applications with a lie. A half-lie, technically. No one wanted Native American Ember, but white Ember just landed her dream accounting job on Park Avenue. Oklahoma City, that is. Accountant Ember thrives on corporate life, and her love life seems to be looking up as well. Danuwa Colson, the IT guy and fellow Native who caught her eye on the first date, seems to be actually interested in her too. Despite her unease over the no dating policy at work, oh my God, they start to see each other secretly, which somehow makes it even hotter. But when they're caught in a compromising position on a work trip, a scheming colleague blackmails Ember, threatening to expose their relationship. As the manipulation continues to grow, so do Ember's lies. She must make the hard decision either to stay silent or finally tell the truth, which could cost her everything. This is gonna be so good, and like, look at this cover. Like, hold on, get my face out of the way, get the glare away. Look at that cover. Like, this is just, I'm excited. And then the final one that we have is The Maid and the Crocodile by Jordan Ufueko. I read Ray Bear by Jordan a few years ago. Very intrigued into what this one is going to be about. In the magic-soaked capital, nope, I can read. In the magic-soaked capital city of Oluwan. I have skipped over that like 4 times. Country bumpkin, Samal Sade needs a job, preferably as a maid with employers who don't mind her unique appearance and unlucky foot. Before she can be hired, she accidentally binds herself to a powerful god known only as the Crocodile. If she had watched Once Upon a Time, she would know better. Small Sade entrances the Crocodile with her secret. She is a curse eater, gifted with the ability to alter people's fates by cleaning their houses. The handsome god warns that their fates are bound, but Small Sade evades him, launching herself into a new career as the curse eater of a swanky inn. She is determined to impress the wealthy inhabitants and earn her place in Oluwan City. Assuming her secret-filled past and the revolutionary ambitions of the Crocodile god don't catch up with her. But maybe there is more to Small Sade, and maybe everyone in Oluwan City deserves more too, from the maids all the way to the anointed ones. That's right, this is what it was that grabbed me, because as fans of, oh my god. Oh my god. He is rumored to devour pretty girls. Fans of the Raybearer series, Howl's Moving Castle, and Beauty and the Beast will enjoy The Maid and the Crocodile. No prior knowledge of the Raybearer series necessary. I'm gonna have such a good time with this book. Okay, I'm really excited. I completely forgotten what this was about, but like, prompt number 3 for the community prompts is to read a book set in Georgia or Virginia. Let me tell you, Georgia has a lot more books that I was interested in reading than Virginia. We're going to be starting this one out with Razorblade Tears by S.A. Crosby. And it says, Ike Randolph has been out of jail for 15 years with not so much as a speeding ticket in all that time. But a black man with cops at the door knows to be afraid. The last thing he expects to hear is that his son Isaiah has been murdered along with Isaiah's white husband Derek. Ike had never fully accepted his son, but is devastated by his loss. Derek's father, Buddy Lee, was almost as ashamed of Derek for being gay as Derek was ashamed his father was a criminal. Buddy Lee still has contacts in the underworld, though, and he wants to know who killed his boy. Ike and Buddy Lee, 2 ex-cons with little else in common other than a criminal past and a love for their dead sons, band together in their desperate desire for revenge. In their quest to do better for their sons in death than they did in life, hardened men like Ike and Buddy Lee will confront their own prejudices about their sons and each other as they rain down vengeance upon those who hurt their boys. This sounds very intense and also, like, very clever. I do believe that this is the first time I've actually, like, read the synopsis for this book, despite it being on my TBR for a very long time. After that, we have The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I have been eyeing Colson Whitehead's work for a while. This is not the one that I originally was going to read by him, but this happened to be at a little free library in my neighborhood, so I picked it up. I was like, well, I know I want to read his work, so why not start with this one? From what I understand, this is Colson Whitehead talking about the Underground Railroad and the history of America and the history of slavery in America and using like kind of the conceit of Gulliver's Travels as a framing mechanism. It says, like the protagonist of Gulliver's Travels, Cora encounters different worlds at each stage of her journey. Hers is an odyssey through time as well as space. So it sounds like we have this initial like historical thing that is happening, but also a little bit of fabulism that is going on in there as well. I'm very interested to see how he takes and mixes those two elements together. And then our final one is set in Georgia as well, and that is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. We are following Jo Kwan, and she is the lady's maid for a socialite in Atlanta. At night, when she is no longer needed, she moonlights as Dear Miss Sweetie, a Southern lady who gives advice. And then her column starts to gain some popularity, and she starts like using her column to address issues of race and gender. Through the events of her and this column, she ends up getting a letter from someone that may give her a clue to what happened to her parents who abandoned her when she was a small child, and so she's kind of going off and trying to figure out what's going on with that as well. Oh, no, there's more. But when her efforts put her in the crosshairs of Atlanta's most notorious criminal, Jo must decide whether she, a girl used to living in the shadows, is ready to step into the light. Okay, well then. I've been hearing great things about this book for the longest time, and it is time for me to read it. Moving on, we need to read, prompt number 4 for the community prompts is to read a book with the word curse in the title. And if you, if you went Margaret, you can't possibly get any Percy Jackson on this TBR. You would be mistaken, because I have The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. I have been doing a Percy Jackson reread, and I am trying to get through this reread. It's not happening, but I wanted to get through this reread by the time it was time for book number 7 in the Percy Jackson series, which is coming out at the end of this month. The Percy Jackson series, starting with The Lightning Thief, is a book about Percy Jackson, who at the ripe old age of 12 finds out that he is a demigod and that his father is Poseidon. And as it turns out, he finds this out right as his dad and his uncle Zeus are like at loggerheads trying to demolish each other and kind of destroying the world, and it falls on Percy's shoulders to like find the thing they're fighting over and fix it, because everyone thinks that he's the one that stole the thing and he knows he isn't, so now it's time for him to track it down. There are so many things on my channel. If you want to hear me talk more about the Percy Jackson series, just go to my channel and search Percy Jackson in that search bar, and you will find so many things to talk to watch. Not all of them are good, but there's a lot to watch about Percy Jackson. I will also be reading one that's been on my TBR for a very long time, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This is the first book in a trilogy by Bridget Kimmerer. From what I understand, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and our main character has cerebral palsy. She is taken from our world into whatever world the prince is cursed in, yada yada yada. It's Beauty and the Beast, and it's a trilogy, and that's as much as I know and or remember. And the final one is an arc that I received from a friend when she was sending stuff out, and I have no idea. Like, I just looked at the cover, and I was like, that sounds interesting. I have no idea what this is about. We're going to find out together. But it is Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenny Elder Moak. Samantha Knox. That sounds really, like, modern. Samantha Knox put away her childish fantasies of archaeological adventure the day her father didn't return home from the Great War, retreating to the safety of her antique bookshop where she works. But when a mysterious package arrives with a damaged field diary inside, Sam's peaceful life is obliterated. Ruthless men intend on reclaiming the diary are after Sam, setting her and her best friend, along with her childhood crush, on a high-stakes adventure that lands them in the Green Hills outside Dublin, Ireland. Okay, so we're talking like the Great War. Like, this isn't a fantasy world. We are in our world. Here they discover an ancient order with a dark purpose to perform an occult... I can talk to perform an occult ritual that will raise the Spectre Queen, the Celtic goddess of vengeance and death, to bring her to a war unlike any other the world has ever seen. I can read, again, what this whole channel is about. To stop them, Sam must solve a deviously complex cipher, one that will lead her on a treasure hunt to discover the ancient relic at the heart of the ritual, a bowl carved from the Tree of Life. Will she find the bowl and stop the curse of the Spectre Queen, or will this ancient order bring about the end of the world? Indiana Jones gets a refresh with this female-driven mystery adventure set in the 1920s, full of ciphers, ancient relics, and heart-stopping action. The first in a brand new series. So, if I like this one, there will be more like it following. The fifth community prompt is to read a book with an LGBT plus main character. So for this one, I grabbed a couple of books that I've been meaning to get to because I've heard they have demi representation. And then the final book is a newer one that I have just heard of. I don't know if I can even get my hands on it, but I'm going to try. First one we're going to talk about is Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. I've loved some of his previous work. His Leviathan trilogy is one of my favorite, like, alternate history steampunk things. I think that is the series that really solidified my love of steampunk. Believing is dangerous. Darcy Patel is afraid to believe all the hype, but it's really happening. Her teen novel is getting, oh god, this is about a writer. Her teen novel is getting published. Instead of heading to college, she's living in New York. She published a book before she even went to college. She's living in New York City where she's welcomed into the dazzling world of YA publishing. That means book tours, parties with her favorite authors, and finding a place to live that won't leave her penniless. Good luck with that one. It means sleepless nights, rewriting her first draft, and struggling to find the perfect ending. All while she's just... Scott, you know how writing books work. How is she getting published if she's just now rewriting her first draft? All while dealing with the intoxicating, terrifying experience of falling in love with another writer. So apparently we're going back and forth between Darcy and the main character in Darcy's novel in alternating chapters. This is starting to give me vibes of like potentially Lizzie being pulled into our world or Darcy being pulled into Lizzie's world. The other one has been on my list for a while, again, solely because I know it has demi representation, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Do I need to explain what this is about? This is a woman in STEM, and for reasons I don't remember, she has to fake a relationship with her supervising professor or... Hold on. Okay, she's a third-year PhD candidate. Ah, okay, I said that. Now, she named him Adam. Oh my god, I forgot that part. Allie. Anyways, we're following Olive. Her best friend is convinced Olive is like miserable. And in order to convince her best friend that she is not miserable, Olive starts dating not her professor. Okay, so like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. That man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young, hotshot professor and well-known ass. They're at Stanford, and she's trying to convince her friend that she is in a relationship with this professor. It does not sound like it is her professor, which... cool. That's the way it should be. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this book, guys. I don't even know how I'm gonna feel about this book. And the final one is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monoquill Blackgoose. This, I remember reading this and really liking it, and now I don't remember anything about it, but is a young indigenous woman enters a colonizer-run dragon academy and quickly finds herself at odds with the approved way of doing things. The remote island of Masquepog has not seen a dragon in many generations until 15-year-old Anekus finds a dragon's egg and bonds with its hatchling. Her people are delighted, for all remember the tales of the days when dragons lived among them and danced away the storms of autumn, enabling the people to thrive. To them, Anekus is revered, a person in a unique relationship with a dragon. Unfortunately for Anekus, the Anglish, conquerors of her land, have differing opinions. They have a very specific idea of how a dragon should be raised and who should be doing the raising, and Anekus does not meet any of their requirements. Only with the great reluctance do they allow Anekus to enroll in a proper English school, dragon school on the mainland. For a girl with no formal schooling, a non-Anglish upbringing, and a very different understanding of the world of her land, of the history of her land, challenges abound. But Anekus is smart, determined, and resolved to learn what she needs to help her dragon, even if it means teaching herself. The one thing she refuses to do, however, is become the make English miss that everyone expects. Anekus and her dragon may be coming of age, but they are also coming to power, and that brings an important realization. The world needs changing, and they might just be the ones to do it. I know somebody was reading it in sprints, and they mentioned, because we started talking about Fireborn, they mentioned that it is similar to that, and if you like that kind of dragon school book, this is a good one. After that, we have read a faction leader fave. So this is any faction leader, does not have to be a faction leader from your team. That's the next prompt. For that, I obviously went through some of the faction leader favorites, and we're going to be reading Sinner's Isle by Angela Montoya. I don't remember what this was about. It's about Rosalinda is trapped on Sinner's Isle, an island filled with majestics like her, beautiful witches, loathed by society for their dangerous magic, yet revered by powerful men who want to use them. Now 18, Rosa will be the prize commodity at this year's offering, a fiesta for the wealthy to engage in drink, damsels, and debauchery. That is why she must flee, before someone forces the vicious phantoms within her to destroy everything she touches. Handsome, swashbuckling Mariano has long sailed the high seas as the prince of the pirates. I didn't know about that! Ah! Then the king's fleet attacks his father's infamous ship, leaving him marooned on Sinner's Isle with only an enchanted chain meant to lead him to his heart's desire. Instead, he falls into the hands of a brazen but bewitching headache, Rosa. Mariano and Rosa must now outwit each other and their enemies before the offering is over, and it's too late to escape the perils of Sinner's Island. This is going to be good. This is going to be very good. This is going to be good. After that, I will be reading A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Howe, or Hale, or Hallie. I don't know. I'm going to look it up. This is a dark fantasy pirate romance. I'm making out with the pirate romances. Anyways, Princess Marin is a woman with a secret. Is this what I think it is? 10 years ago, she sold her soul to the sea witch Adonia, giving up a life underwater. Oh, it is not, but this is in exchange for the love of Prince Eric on land. But after a decade of abuse and misery, inflicted by the cruel prince, Marin wants nothing more than to leave him and her royal, this is not better, never mind, and her royal role behind and find Adonia to reverse the spell. An opportunity for escape presents itself when the prince and princess are traveling overseas and are taken hostage by a band of notorious pirates led by the fearsome Captain Ramsay Bones Batista. Marin has heard of the sordid stories about the Emperor's pirate. Not only is his ship supposedly hunted and crewed by the damned, but that no prisoners ever survive. Fortunately for Marin, she learns that the captain is also a score to settle with the sea witch. With any luck, Marin may be able to get her old life back, even if it's being held in the captain's wicked hand. But Ramsay gets more than he bargained for when he learns who and what Marin is, and that her appetite for revenge, freedom, and bloodlust rivals his. Meanwhile, Marin finds herself falling for the pirate's dark nature, even as she discovers that Ramsay has a secret more deadly than her own. When it comes to the high seas, not all the monsters live beneath the surface. I'm getting Princess Bride meets Beauty and the Beast. That's what I'm getting. That's what this is giving me. Again, it sounds like a Margaret book. And then our final book, I may regret, but it was the only one that I could find on the list of human wrecks that I hadn't already read that my library had. That is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. If I am making a mistake, please let me know in the comments, those of you that know what I like to read. When Cora attends her sister's birthday party, she expects at most a hangover or a walk of shame. She doesn't anticipate a stolen wallet, leaving her stranded and dependent on Dean, her arch nemesis, an ultimate thorn in her side. See, that sounds like I will have a good time. And she really doesn't anticipate waking up in shackles in a madman's basement, sounding less promising, sounding less like a Margaret book. To make matters worse, Dean shares the space in his own set of chains. Again, sounding promising. After 15 years of teasing, insults, and practical jokes, the ultimate joke seems to be on them. The two people who always thought they'd end up killing each other must now work together if they want to survive. But Cora and Dean have no idea their abductor has a plan for them. A plan that will alter the course of their relationship, blur the line between hate and love, and shackle them together with far more than just chains. We'll see if that one works for me. As far as the vampire faction goes, I am reading 2 of the 4 books that are available, because one of them I've already read 3 times. If I can get it, I will read Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, but there are others on this list that I was able to get my hands on. One of which is The Hanging City by Charlie Holmberg. What is this? I have no idea what this one is about. I just know that the cover, I am loving all of the symbolism that is going on here and all of the things that this is saying to me, that I'm picking up on the things this could be tied to. 7 years on the run from her abusive father and with no hope of sanctuary among the dwindling pockets of human civilization, Lark is out of options. Her only leverage is a cursed power. She can thrust fear onto others, leaving all threats fleeing in terror. That sounds like a D&D spell. It's a means of survival as she searches for a place to call home. If the campfire myths of her childhood are true, Lark's sole chance for refuge could lie in Kagmar, the city of trolls, a brutal species and the sworn enemy of humanity. Lark could be much more useful than the low-caste humans who merely labor in Kagmar. Her gift makes her invaluable as a monster slayer to fight off the unspeakable creatures that torment the Troll's hanging city, suspended from a bridge over an endless dark canyon. Lark will do anything to make Kagmar her home, but her new role comes with a caveat. Use her power against a troll and she'll be killed, obviously. Her loyalty is quickly put to the test when she draws the hatred of a powerful troll who loathes humankind. Still, she finds an unexpected friendship in the city, and even, more surprisingly, love. But if everything else doesn't undo her, being caught in the arms of a troll surely will. Now in the fight of her life, Lark has a lot to learn about her past, about trust and hope when all seems lost, and above all, about the extraordinary power of fear itself. That sounds intriguing. And then the final vampire prompt that is left is A Dowy of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is a Bride of Dracula retelling. This is my last love letter to you, though some would call it a confession. So begins the tale of Constanza, first bride of Dracula. So begins a tale of obsession, desire, and control. So begins her revenge. Saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanza is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanza realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. Finding comfort in the arms of her rival consorts, she begins to unravel their husband's dark secrets. With the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanza will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband. But bonds forged by blood can be broken only by death. I have not read Dracula, but I am familiar. I know Brittany absolutely adores this, and so I have to try it. The final category of community prompts that we can do are creator faves, aka Nell's faves. This one really only has 2 because I've already tried Death Note, and I don't think this is the month that I'm going to be reading Butcher and Blackbird. We will be starting out with Blood Debts by Terry Benton Walker. This 30 years ago, a young woman was murdered, a family was lynched, and New Orleans saw the greatest magical massacre in its history. In the days that followed, a throne was stolen from a queen. On the anniversary of these brutal events, Clement and Christina Trudeau, the 16-year-old twin heirs to the powerful magical dethroned family, are mourning their father and caring for their sick mother, until by chance they discover their mother isn't sick. She's cursed. Cursed by someone on the very magical council that their family used to rule. Someone who will come for them next. Christina, once a talented and dedicated practitioner of generational magic, has given up magic for good. An ancient spell is what killed their father, and she was the one who cast it. For Clement, magic is his lifeline, a distraction from his anger and pain. Even better than the random guys he just hooks up with. Christina and Clement used to be each other's most trusted, confidant, and friend. Now they barely speak. But if they have any hope of discovering who is coming after their family, they'll have to find a way to trust each other and their family's magic, all while solving the decades-old murder that sparked the still rising tensions between the city's magical and non-magical communities. And if they don't succeed, New Orleans may see another massacre. Or worse. I've heard really good things about this. It's been on a couple of TBRs at this point, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. And then the final book on this TBR, or that I may be getting to in September, the final book that is on my pile of possibilities is Alone with You in the Ether by Olive E. Blake. I really enjoyed the Atlas 6. Haven't finished the Atlas Paradox yet, but we're working on it. Chicago, sometime. 2 people meet in the Art Institute by chance. Prior to their encounter, he is a doctoral student who manages his destructive thoughts with compulsive calculations about time travel. She is a bipolar counterfeit artist, undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true, but this is not a story about endings. For Reagan, people are predictable and tedious, including and perhaps especially herself. She copes with the dreariness of existence by living impulsively, imagining a new, alternate timeline being created in the wake of every rash decision. To Aldo, the world feels disturbingly chaotic. He gets through his days by erecting a wall of routine, a backbeat of rules and formulas that keep him going. Without them, the entire framework of his existence would collapse. Could 6 conversations with a stranger be the variable that shakes up the entire simulation? Apparently, it is an intimate and contemporary study of time, space, and the nature of life. Alone with You in the Ether explores what it means to be unwell and how to face the fractures of yourself and still love as if you are not broken. I'm just now realizing how many books that is. This is not the worst pile I've ever had, so I think I can... Right? Oop, nope, it's falling. We're falling. I got it, though. It's fine. There are most of the books that I will be reading for the month of September. Most of the books that I will be thinking about reading for the month of September. I'm not reading all of these. These are just the things that I'm going to choose from. That's I don't have to read all of these. It's fine. Scared myself there for a minute. Anyways, let me know what you're up to in September, what you're doing, what you're reading. I know there are a couple of readathons going on. Oh no. How do I get these back? I think I can do it. As usual, my TBR is out of control and a little overambitious, but I like having options. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I have other videos right over here that you can check out as well. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye! Do I keep the fake blood on my face for the rest of the TBR, or do I go and clean this up?